Hey, what's up everybody, PersNikity here. Welcome back to Uncharted Drake's Fortune, and we are moving on to Chapter 19, Unwelcome Guests. This is still the brutal difficulty walkthrough now. This level is actually going to throw you right into the action. So, we already know from a couple chapters previous that we have to fight these four-legged or you know, on all four mutant-like creatures. And we're actually kind of, in this video, about to find out what those creatures actually are, but before you can do that, you got to get out of this little death room here. And so what had happened is we turned the generator, and now the door's shut, and to get out we have to pull two switches. So you saw me pull one of the switches right there, and then the other switch is going to be directly across the room. So you should be fine. Basically, you don't have to kill all of these mutants because, from my understanding, they'll just infinitely respawn. I'm not 100% sure on that, but the point is you really don't have to kill all of them. You just have to kill enough so that you can run past them all and get to the next switch. So you'll notice what I'm doing here is I'm just kind of making my way through the doorway, and once I get out into this open area here, that's when I just kind of run for this other door. Now, in hindsight, I should have actually ran around for a bit and looked for more ammo, because you'll notice that I'm running low. I ended up not doing that, and it came back to bite me later. So what I would recommend doing is, before leaving this area, make sure to find as much ammo as you can, because it will help you later on. But so again, it's kind of the same approach here. You'll pull both switches, and the red flashing light will turn off, the green light will come on, indicating that the door is now unlocked and that you can proceed through the rest of the game. And then the same thing's going to happen here. As you approach this doorway to exit this little room, a bunch of the mutants are going to run at you, and you can see that I just ran past them. Now, again, before running through here, it would be wise to search that previous room for a lot of ammo, because I did not do that, and you can see that I'm completely out. So that's my recommendation to you, is before coming to this area here, make sure you run around and look for ammo. And you'll notice that once you go through that doorway, you can't go back. So that's really important to know. You have to look for ammo before going through that final doorway, otherwise you might be in some trouble. Now, it's not going to be impossible. You can still get through it. You'll notice how I have a magnum with me, and I also picked up a grenade, and I am actually going to use those. But approach this doorway here for the cutscene, which reveals what those mutants actually are.
Is near. The devils hunt for me in the darkness. The gold of El Dorado bears a terrible curse. The Spaniards have unleashed hell, become as demons. My men have all been murdered, leaving the task to me alone. No ship will depart this island. I destroyed them all and drowned the cursed city. A thing of such great evil must never leave these shores. In my final hour, I commend my soul to God. May he have mercy on this unholy place. Francis Drake. My God.
Alright, so after that cutscene, we're in this room, and yet again the game is just going to throw us right into the action, and it's going to spawn several mutants. And so you'll notice the first thing I'm doing is I'm running around and picking up as much ammo as I can, because I was stupid and I hadn't picked up any in the previous area, and that kind of came back to bite me right here. The good thing about this room is that the enemies actually do not infinitely respawn. There is a finite number. I want to say it's like 7 or 8. The bad news is you do have to kill every mutant before you exit the room. If you try to exit the room before killing all the mutants, this little like cinematic will play and you'll automatically be killed, and there's nothing you can do about it. So really just don't even worry about leaving this room until you know until you know that every mutant is in fact dead. Now the good thing is the door that we came through, that door is still open. So if you get overwhelmed, you can see right here, you can actually run through this doorway. You just can't advance through the next doorway until you're completely done with this section. Now you'll notice here, I'm about to run out of ammo completely, and this is where I had to resort to using a grenade, which luckily killed one of them. But that's kind of what I was talking about with you. Like, I got really desperate, and all of that could have been avoided had I just searched for more ammo earlier on in the level. So that's why I really recommend you do that. But once you think they're all dead, just wait a couple seconds to confirm that. And then once you know that no more are going to spawn, make your way towards this door here, and you can turn that wheel to advance to the next part of the level. Now, what would happen is, if you hadn't killed all the enemies and you try to open that doorway, a little cutscene will trigger and an enemy will land on your back and just like rip your head off, or I don't know if it does that, but it kills you. And so you can't actually advance until you kill all of them. Now we're going to come to this room here. Before running over to that window, stop by these two little desks or two little box stacks and get some ammo. Then you can run over here to trigger the cutscene.
Can you hear me in there?
Loud and clear, jackass.
Oh, no microphone on your end. What a shame.
Nate, get out of there before...
Elena! Leave her alone!
Navarro, if you can't maintain control over a small girl,
It won't happen again. Trust me.
I'm sorry for
The interruption. I just wanted to, thank you for leading us to El Dorado.
Of course.
Oh, I hope you don't mind if we
borrow Miss Fisher a little while longer, just to discourage you
and
and
your partner from trying anything creative. So long, Nate. It's been fun.
Yeah. Keep smiling, asshole. I'll see you soon. Whoa. Oh, hell, that can't be good.
Alright guys, so at the end of the cutscene, get ready, because the game now is going to pretty much present you with 10 minutes of straight combat. Pretty much from this point on until the end of this video, we are going to be fighting people. Now the first person is going to be this guy that comes through the doorway here, so make sure you take care of him. And then we're going to grab whatever ammo you want. You'll notice that I still have the MP40, which is the weapon you get in the tunnels in the previous chapter. I don't really prefer this weapon, but of course on Brutal, if it's the only weapon you have, it's the only weapon you have, and you have to make use of that. Now be careful as you approach this stairway here. There's going to be a couple enemies positioned at the bottom of it, and you can actually just use alternative cover to finish them off before going down there, as you see me doing right here.
Okay.
But so yeah, like I was saying, it's pretty much going to be just 10 minutes of straight combat. The good news is, though, that it's actually not that difficult of combat. And there's a couple reasons for that. One, probably the biggest reason, is this is chapter 19. And so if you've made it this far on Brutal difficulty, you know what you're doing. And so you have the skills to beat this game if you've made it this far, without a doubt. The other reason, another one, is you can see that these soldiers are actually fighting the mutants, and the mutants are fighting the soldiers. Now, both of them will also try to kill you if you make yourself visible, but it's kind of helpful. You know, this happens a lot in video games when two enemies are fighting each other, and that allows you to kind of just run through the middle. The difference here, you still do pretty much have to kill everyone, but it's nice that they're distracted, because sometimes you can get some really easy kills, or sometimes one enemy might kill another enemy for you, and that makes your job slightly easier. Now you'll notice that right here I'm not running directly out, and that's for a number of reasons. One, because if you run too far, the mutants will get you, but two, you can see that there's this sniper way up here in the window, so try to pick up an M4 just take him out. It takes a while because you're at such a long distance, but taking this guy out now will just make your job a bit easier going into the future, because that's it's one less sniper to worry about. There is going to be another sniper up in this giant tower, but you won't have to worry about him until the end of this little sequence. Now, another reason this fight is pretty simple is because you get a lot of freedom. And what I mean by that is you'll notice that I'm not just in one room. I'm not trapped in one room with enemies continuously, running at me. I have a lot of freedom to move around. There's multiple sections of this firefight, which means if you get overwhelmed, you can just run back to the previous section and kind of collect your thoughts before moving on. You can see there's a lot of these kind of long rooms that you see right here, where even if mutants are running at you, the room is so long that you have plenty of time to shoot them before they even get near you. So that's kind of what I mean by there's a lot of freedom here. There's a lot of different ways you can approach this fight. And probably the best piece of news is that there is a ton of ammo to be found in this section. So even though we're fighting a ton of people here, you really shouldn't have to worry about running out of ammo. Now, you might run out of ammo for a particular gun, sure, but there's always going to be something you can pick up. Like in the previous rooms, I left behind MP40s. Right here, there's actually going to be a sniper rifle, and then there's just so many enemies that all of these enemies are going to drop weapons when they die. And then, of course, there's a lot of grenades to be had. You'll notice that I already have 4 grenades in my inventory, which you can pick up in the previous chapter, so that just helps things. I think there was also 2 grenades at the very beginning of this, like when we were back in that tower before the cutscene. So there's just a lot of resources you can utilize, and you'll notice like one thing right here. I ran out of ammo, so I ran back here because I remembered that I had left an M4 right there. And that's kind of what I mean, like, just kind of keep a mental track of what weapons you're leaving behind, so that if you run out down the road, you can just run back and pick them up. None of the areas get closed off, so you can go all the way back to the beginning without having to worry about moving up too far. But so you'll come to this spot here, and this is a really good spot where the enemies are going to be distracted by those mutants. And so this is where I decided to just use 2 of my grenades to get 2 easy kills. And then with 2 guys left to worry about, that's when I think I ended up using a 3rd grenade here. Yeah, so I used a 3rd grenade to take out this guy, and that leaves only 1 more guy. And again, the reason I felt confident doing that is because you'll notice that I already have 3 grenades in my inventory yet again, and that's because there was 2 grenades on the top of these boxes here. So that kind of gives you... you can use those grenades without feeling guilty, basically, because you know that there's a lot strewn about this environment. But so once you kill all the soldiers, you'll jump down, and all of these mutants are going to rush you. So make sure you take them out before they can get close. If you get overwhelmed, just run up here, and they shouldn't follow you up here. If they do, then just keep running until you get enough room to turn around and shoot them. But usually, from my experience, they would just kind of retreat and then wait for you to come back down. But yeah, all in all, this firefight's not that tough. It's nowhere near as tough as what we're going to face in Chapter 20. I actually was able to do this whole thing in one go, so you'll notice that there's not going to be any video cuts throughout this entire firefight, and that's because I hadn't died a single time. Alright, now this is where things probably get the most difficult, and that's because you can see all of these boxes and crates littered about this next room, and there are quite a few enemies behind these boxes and crates, so you have to be really careful, because you can see right now I'm out in the open, but then boom, that guy with an M4 just appeared out of nowhere. So you gotta take this area very slowly, because you don't want to go out too far and then have an enemy just randomly appear from behind a box and kill you. So really utilize alternative cover. Turn your corners very slowly, and you can see here that every once in a while an enemy will just naturally appear, and that's when you can take them out. Now, another thing is, another reason you kind of want to stay back is because if you go up too far, there's going to be a second sniper that's up in that tower, and now the tower is to our right. And so if you go up too far, you just got to be extra careful, because not only do you have to avoid the soldiers on the ground, but you also have to keep a lookout, obviously, for the sniper. So, yeah. But again, just the same approach. Stay behind the boxes, and you'll notice that finally I kind of had the wits to move up to this box here, and that was once I was sure that there was no more enemies like right here on the front lines. And now you can see that as soon as you run up here, that's when that sniper will become a problem. So now I'm using these boxes to peek around, but you see right there, I barely dodged that guy's M4 fire, and so that's just another example of how you have to be extra careful when you're turning these corners, because these boxes just make it really difficult because you can't see how many enemies are back there. So it's just really hard to tell, but you'll notice how one thing I'm doing is when I'm behind cover, you can actually rotate the camera kind of at an upward angle, like you see me doing right here. And that allows you to see over the box that I'm standing behind, and sometimes you'll be able to see where the enemies are running to and things like that without ever actually exposing yourself to any danger. Now you'll notice I'm getting pretty low on ammo, but there's only one guy left, and so that's why I'm not really worried. That's why I'm not trying to run around frantically scavenging for ammo, because I know that as soon as I kill this guy, it's only the sniper to worry about. And the sniper's really not that big of a threat, because in order for the sniper to hit you, the sniper has red dot sight, and so in order for the sniper to hit you, that red laser has to be targeted on you for at least like 1 or 2 seconds. And so if you just keep moving and rolling out of the way and hiding behind boxes, the sniper is really not a threat. The sniper only becomes a threat because of the ground soldiers. The ground soldiers can force you out of cover, and that can put you right in the sniper's crosshairs. But you'll see you can pick up the sniper rifle, and you can actually kill that sniper from behind these boxes right here. And so that's what I decided to do. I might have done that a bit earlier had I figured it out, but I just hadn't come up with that idea yet. And it wasn't until I was kind of desperate that I decided to try that, because this guy was just not making himself visible. But so there you go. With that sniper out of the way, you can advance a little bit. There's some grenades you can pick up. There's more ammo. And then taking out that last guy shouldn't be much of a problem. Now, we're not completely out of the woods yet, because before we can run up to the ladder that takes us out of this level, we have to just kill a couple more mutants. But at this point, that is just child's play compared to what we've done in this chapter already. So, yeah, guys, that's pretty much it. Thank you for watching. Like and subscribe if you get the chance. I hope that you're enjoying this walkthrough. It's pretty much almost over. We got chapter 20, 21, and 22, and then we're done. Now, this walkthrough is actually going to end the day before a new video game comes out called Troll and I, and the game looks really fun. I'm thinking about playing it for the channel. Not sure yet, though, because it doesn't look like it features numerous difficulties, so I can't make a hardest difficulty walkthrough. It looks like the only thing distinguishing this game is that there's collectibles to be found, but I typically do not do collectible walkthroughs because I have a hard time finding collectibles myself, so I usually use people's walkthroughs when it comes to that. But I might just play the game for fun. Might make a walkthrough of it. We'll see. If that's something you'd like to see before I move on to Uncharted 2, then let me know in the comments below. Again, that game is called Troll and I. But there you go, guys. Thanks for watching. Move through here, go up the ladder, and you will directly trigger into Chapter 20. Alright, guys. See you in future videos.